Hey lovelies, Larissa J here and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, you know what to do. Make sure that you stop what you're doing and be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notifications on all of my upcoming videos. And if you're interested in any apparel, be sure to check the links in the description box below for JohnsonTeam apparel. We're going to get right into the video. Today I want to talk about how to speak to your man. Now, of course, I specifically am talking about your husband, or of course, if you're in a serious relationship that might lead to marriage, or if you are single and you plan to get married or be in a serious relationship with the potential of it heading to marriage. That's more of my focus for today. I feel like it's super important to be mindful of the way that you communicate with people in general, but of course, the person that you have in your life that is your person, whether it be your spouse or, like I said, if it's a serious relationship that you're in, you want to be mindful of the way that you communicate with him. I notice nowadays just the way that things have changed and the way that the world has evolved. We as people have gotten to a place where the way that we communicate with one another has changed, and the way that we treat one another has changed. And then, of course, the way that we treat our loved ones has changed. And I can't necessarily say it's been for the better. And this is just from my observation. And so I want to talk about just the significance of, the way that we speak to our men, as well as maybe some tips that I can provide for you in making sure that you do that effectively. So it's super important to make sure that you are pouring into your man, right? Especially if, like I said, it's a committed and serious relationship or marriage. You want to make sure that you're pouring into him and investing into him, and you want to be that safe place. And the way that we communicate with our men is a contributing factor to whether or not we are that safe space for him. And a lot of times you'll see that men who have like nagging wives or nagging girlfriends with a short fuse, usually there are some challenges that come with that. And sometimes he may not even feel completely safe in that environment. And then that's when you get guys who are shut down and they don't want to talk. And of course, we as women, we don't want that. We want to be able to talk to our men, right? So the way that we communicate with them is super important. So I'm going to go into my tips that I have for you today. Just some things that I know are helpful and effective. Some things that I recommend you try if it's an area that you feel that you are struggling in. So my first tip number one, is going to be to make sure that you speak with love and kindness and gentleness. That's going to be super important. And I mean, like on your regular day-to-day, when you're speaking to him, you want to make sure that it's with love and kindness. You want to make sure that it's in a gentle way, because like I said, you want to be that safe space. For example, if he's just getting off of work and, he did something maybe that was irritating, that's something that you found irritating, whether it was like when he was away or whatever the case is, getting at him the moment he walks in the door is not going to be very effective. Because again, coming home from work, especially, you want to make sure that you have peace in your home and that it's a safe space for him. And so you want to approach him in a loving and kind and gentle way, and your communication with him needs to be as such. Now, if there is something that happened that irritated you or bothered you, that's been on your mind that you want to talk about, I would suggest waiting until he unwinds, because we all need that time, especially coming from work or just regardless of what's taking place. There's just certain times that you should be mindful of to avoid talking about certain things. For example, if he just woke up and he's not like a morning person, it's not a time you want to talk about like a heavy topic. Like I said, if he just walked in the door, that's usually not a time that you would want to talk about a heavy topic. So just be mindful of the times of day and just be aware of the situation and the environment that you guys are in to kind of discern whether or not it's a specific time to talk about heavier topics or a topic that could escalate and become a little less gentle. But in your day-to-day communication, absolutely, I would suggest making sure that the way that you communicate is gentle and loving and nurturing, just to make sure that you provide that inviting and safe feeling for your man. Tip number 2, listen to the man. You want to make sure that you listen when he speaks. You want to make sure that he feels heard, just like we as women want to feel heard, and we want to be able to talk and communicate and be listened to. You wouldn't want someone to be off on their phone or watching the game, or, some people are like, yeah, but they're like, their mind is not there. Just like we don't like that and we don't want that, it's the same for him. You want to make sure that he feels like he's being listened to when he's speaking. So give that undivided attention, especially if it's at a time where he's like sharing his heart with you, like he's actually communicating openly with you. You want to make sure that you take advantage of that, soak it up, and make sure that you're fully present and actually listening, and he feels like he's being heard, which means that you're not interrupting and interjecting and talking on top of him. Make sure that your man feels heard by listening when he speaks to you. This kind of ties into my tip number 3, which is to respect him and to respect what he has to say. Now, this is particularly if this is your husband. So if you're married right now, or if you intend to get married in the future, put this little nugget in your pocket. But you want to make sure that your husband feels respected and that he feels that you're respecting what he's saying. You want to make sure, and a lot of people talk about this whole submission thing, right? You want to make sure that you do respect your husband as the head of the house, right? He is the head of the house, as the leader. And so you want to make sure that not only do you respect him as that, but that he also feels that way, that he knows that he has that place in your home and in your household where he is being respected. What he's saying is respected, which means if he says something or if he makes a decision and you're always doing the opposite, then I don't think he's going to feel very respected. And that will lead to problems, because men need to feel respected, just like women need to feel love. We need to be loved. They need to be respected. And so if you're always doing opposite of what he says, and he's giving his best judgment, his best suggestion, and all the time you are doing the contrary and you're not listening to him and respecting what he's saying, that could not be good. My 4th tip is to make sure that you build a relationship in an environment where he feels safe talking to you. So that means that when he communicates with you, the way that you respond is helping to program his mind for whether or not you can handle certain things and how you will handle certain things. So if he knows that he presents certain information to you and you respond with an attitude, you just fly off at the handle, you start rolling your neck and doing whatever the case is, he's not going to be bothered with all that. And so he may not feel safe presenting that information to you. And so you want to make sure that you've created this environment to where he feels safe communicating to you regardless of what the topic is, because that's what you want. You want your man to talk to you and feel comfortable communicating certain things to you regardless of what it is. You don't want him hiding anything. So you want to make sure that you foster this environment where regardless of what he says, your response is going to still allow him to feel safe in communicating that information to you. And so it's just a matter of the way that you respond. That's your body language. That's the things that you say. Now, does it mean, am I saying don't have feelings and don't communicate your feelings? Absolutely not. I'm just saying be aware of how you're cultivating your relationship, and making sure that you have made it very clear that communication is free to be open without making him feel regretful of sharing the information with you or making him feel disrespected or degraded. is all I'm saying. So that's just something that I wanted to share with you, because I see and I hear so many things when it comes to relationships and marriages, and just the way that women nowadays are talking to their men. There's nothing wrong with being a strong woman. Absolutely. Be her, be this strong woman, but not at the expense of your man, to the extent that it wears on your relationship, or it wears on your marriage, because you've gotten to a place where you feel that you need to be so strong that you're disrespectful and not allowing him to play his part in the relationship and in the marriage as a man and as the head and the leader. I want to leave with you the scripture that I really like. I actually have it in our bedroom, my husband and I, and it's Ephesians 4:2. And the first thing that it says is always be humble and gentle. Always be humble and gentle. And then it goes on to say to be patient with each other and make allowance for one another's faults because of your love. And so I want to encourage you to do that today and every day, of course. Be humble, be gentle, be patient, and make allowance for one another's faults because you love one another. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. If you like these types of relationship videos, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Comment below. I love hearing from you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.